Mark and Joey here, coming to you from Ultimate Sports Channel, as you can see by our new backdrop. Before we travel a lot. If you're not new to the show, you know that we do a lot of these in hotels, and as we travel for Joey's professional golf career, and we've always had kind of this look of the hotel room behind us, always driven us crazy. We went out and got a banner, and we're pretty happy about it. Hopefully it's showing well on the video as well. So there you go. We're ready to go. Ultimate Sports Channel, but ultimatesportschannel.com is the website. You should get there. We have a daily feed. So we do the show once a week, but we have a daily feed of all the sports happenings that are happening in every sport, not just football and basketball, but everything. Check that out every day. Go to ultimatesportschannel.com every morning. Take a look at that. You can also find in there our sponsors, which is is cool. We'd like you to take a look at our sponsors, and every one of them offers a deal coming through us. 10, 15% off, whatever it might be. We do negotiate deals for you there. So take a look at those sponsors if you would. And of course, Joey, Patreon.com is where we have the show coming out. Explain what we're doing on the subscription thing right now.
Yeah, so right now it's free to subscribe, but we want you to subscribe so you get all the notifications of our new videos, get to see all the videos we got already up there. And yeah, you go to Patreon.com, it's free to make an account, and it's free to join our site, Ultimate Sports Channel.
And we are going there with everything that we're doing. And eventually it will be sealed off that it's only subscribers that are able to see the shows as we go. And so we want to continue to bring you good quality there. Now, what you'll see when you sign up, you sign up for free, but you will get a free 3-night vacation in the U.S. This is something that we've gotten as an extra value for you. And you'll also get a $100 restaurant card, which allows you to save up to $100 and go into restaurants. And you'll also get a $100 travel savings card. So even when you go to a hotel or anywhere like that, you'll also save money. So you get all three of those when you sign up, when you come and register for Patreon. And like we say right now, it's free. So Joey, let's talk a little bit about getting into the show here. This is going to be our NFL show. As always, what a week. I mean, just a crazy week of football. Culminating on Monday night with the Seattle Seahawks, our home team. If you don't know, we have kind of, again, because of our travel, we actually live in Toronto, Ontario. We lived in Seattle. That's how they became our NFL team. We lived there for a few years of work. And right now we're in Myrtle Beach and then heading on to Florida here in the south for your golf career. So we're kind of everywhere, but that's why Seattle's our home NFL team, because we did live there for a few years. But they're 10-2, but the most nerve-wracking 10-2 you could ever find.
Yeah, definitely. They don't really blow out many games. And again, on Monday night, they didn't do that against Minnesota, even though given the chance. They gave up some quick touchdowns, and only ended up being a 7-point game. But yeah, they're 10-2 in second seed, so that's all you can really ask for. And I think come playoff time, that'll be beneficial for them. So not too worried overall.
Yeah, we can't be worried. They're going to make the playoffs. We are a little worried though. We mentioned the game on Monday. Their home record, for one thing, but also the way they play at home is not what it used to be. When you used to go to Seattle, it was almost a loss. You counted. I think there was 3 or 4 years they didn't lose at home. That's not the case anymore. Yeah,
I mean, only 2 losses. You're going to lose at some point. They had 2 of their toughest games at home, so, obviously they could have been 1, but I'm not too worried about that either. I just think no matter what, you want to be the 2 seed if you can. No one's made a Super Bowl in the last 9 years that had to play the wild card weekend, so you got to get that bye week, and you got to get some home games in the playoffs. So I'm not too worried about the 2 losses at home. If you can be a top 2 seed, you get the bye, which is huge for any football team. Especially with injuries. So I think that's really what they're going for here. And winning the division is obviously would seal that, with the other divisions not as strong.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's going to be so important with them in San Francisco. They are playing in San Francisco last game of the season, so that's going to be really interesting to see.
Great game.
San Francisco got shut down on the weekend. That was a hell of a football game. And but they did get beat by the monster of the league right now, so that helped us out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a close game, so it wasn't really a blowout for Baltimore's sake.
Close.
But a loss that we needed San Francisco to get for a Seahawks fan, and another win for Baltimore against a good team, which was very, very good, very cool. It was a muddy game, it was a rainy game. It'll be interesting to see if that's a Super Bowl matchup that we might see in the future, and in better weather might come of it. But I think Baltimore is definitely looking strong no matter what, and definitely coming to the playoff time, they'll have the advantage of the bad weather, depending on who they play.
Well, I think it's a real advantage to Baltimore because of the running game. when you can run in the rain and the mud and everything else, that's a huge value, right? A huge opportunity.
Definitely.
But it was a great game, fun game to watch. We were watching it out by the beach actually, which was nice, but big for Seattle to get San Francisco that second loss.
Absolutely. I mean, now it could come down to a last game showdown, which is what you want if you believe you're the better team, is you want the cards in your hands, and that's what I'm sure the NFL is hoping for too, is a Week 17 that actually matters to a division like that and can really decide the playoffs.
Yeah. That would be amazing to see. And actually, it would be interesting to see if either one of them goes through as a wild card, which likely one of them is going to have to go through. Could they change that pattern of no wild card winning? Because both of these teams have the ability to do that, but it's the extra game that seems to be really tough.
It's the extra game, plus you then got to go play, in this case, probably New Orleans, who I imagine will be the number 1 seed with an easier schedule than San Francisco or Seattle. Even Green Bay and Minnesota, all those division games that kind of wrap up the year. The only division that's kind of bad is the Saints division right now. They're above the last 3 teams in their division. So they got an easier schedule. So if you win the wild card weekend, the problem is you go face a team like the Saints, and the other side will be go face a team like the Patriots or the Baltimore Ravens. So that's why it's so difficult. It's become a little top heavy, and that's what you're going to see here. So I don't think anyone will come out of the wild card weekend this year either.
Yeah, and then we'll wait to see. Hopefully we're not there, because then we're going to change our mind.
Exactly.
And the other thing that was pretty amazing about the Monday night game, they talk about the 12th man in Seattle. Holy crap, can these guys be loud? It hit 100 on the decimal measuring thing. I don't understand that part too much. All I know, they kept showing it, so it must be an amazing sound level because they kept putting it on TV.
Well, it is. I mean, it's not what we've gotten to. We obviously had a record. We've registered a number 5 earthquake before, so but yeah, it gets really loud in there. They created a stadium to do that apparently too. It's kind of tinny and stuff, so it really gets rocking. It definitely caused some penalties on Minnesota's side and probably some tension. And Kirk Cousins, who's been a failure against big-time opponents in the big-time moment. But, it's cool. And, there's lots of teams right now that have upped their fan game. Kansas City's another top team, if not the top team. But, it's definitely normally a home advantage for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's a real decider. And like we say, although this year hadn't been as much a powerhouse, they could be in the playoffs without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, that's it. That was the big game. 2 big games of the weekend was with Baltimore and with Seattle. Let's talk about big events on the weekend. Number 1 being the firing of the coach in Carolina.
Yeah, so another loss. Obviously, the Redskins isn't going to help you keep your job, but I think it's about time they got rid of Ron Rivera. I think it's a big change in the guard there in Carolina. It just hasn't really worked. It's a decent 8 years there he had. Long time for head coach. They obviously want him to work with Cam Newton and figure it out, and they had some playoff starts and positions and went to a Super Bowl one time. So overall, can't be too upset, but it was definitely coming to an end with the last couple of years, the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, and you know what? You sign a player like Cam Newton, the expectations are way higher when they brought him in, and they really haven't succeeded. The 1 year they got to the Super Bowl was a super weak schedule, and then that really got them. That showed that was what really got them there, as opposed to them being a powerhouse and getting there. And as soon as they were off the week schedule, they've not been able to put anything together the last few years. So I think this was a foregone conclusion. I think they just want to make sure they were out of the playoffs completely before they made any moves. That's done now, and so Rivera's gone. I think this is a good move. I've not really liked it. He's made a lot of calls that were really kind of weird.
Well, I think a lot of coaches have that I think could easily be fired in the NFL now too. I think it's just opened it up with the field goal kickers being bad, that a lot of coaches maybe are looking bad in some of the decisions they make instead of obviously putting it on their players. But yeah, he made a couple of them for sure. I just never really liked the combo of him and Cam Newton. Yet Cam Newton was quite devastated that Ron Rivera was fired, and it sounds like Cam Newton doesn't really want to come back without Ron Rivera there either. So we'll see going forward what's going on there. I think, though, Harbaugh from college would be a good fit, but we'll see. Lots of season left, and this guy, the new interim coach, you never know what he might be able to prove in the last 6 games or 4 games.
Well, I think there's no doubt about Newton's gone, and the new coach is going to make sure of that. He's going to put his own stamp on the team. The young quarterback's done a good enough job that he can come in next year and be the number 1 quarterback is what I think.
Well, Kyle Allen's been pretty horrible, truthfully, and even during the winning streak, while he was good, he wasn't great, so I wouldn't really...
Well, he's a rookie. I mean, you're being a little hard on the guy. He's come in, he won a bunch of games.
Well, take over, though, Cam Newton, who is loved by the city, does so much for the city. You got to remember, it's not just about, sometimes the production on the football field. By the way, he would say he's been injured the last couple of years. I say Cam Newton comes back at least with the tear that Kyle Allen's been on, being really, really poor as of late. It definitely doesn't give you any confidence, averaging 3 interceptions a game. I mean, you might as well bring Cam Newton back and have both of them here. There's no reason to get rid of anybody. I never understand that with any type of team is getting rid of a guy. So keep him around, figure it out with the new coach. If Harbaugh comes in, he worked well with Colin Kaepernick, Alex Smith, which are running quarterbacks that could throw the ball. Very powerful too. I think it's more of a coaching thing right now. You shouldn't get rid of anybody until you know who you want for sure. But Kyle Allen, definitely far from stellar. So
well, far from stellar, but so's Newton been the last 3 years. So realistically, maybe the core of the team is not that good. When you got McCaffrey, though, seems pretty simple, but obviously it has been working. And but I think you go with the young quarterback. We'll see what happens. Newton's got to get healthy again before you put him back in.
He's had a whole year off now, and really
going back at him and getting hurt again.
And really could have played this year. So they've really taken the time. He really could have came back a couple weeks ago. They put him on injury reserve the whole year. So basically saying, we were going to see if Kyle can get us there. If not, then, the season's over. So that's what they've done here. So they've sacrificed it. We'll see. But there's no point in getting rid of them unless someone's going to offer you a hell of a deal. But I don't think Cam Newton's the guy that people are going to fork over first-round picks, so why bother?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We're in disagreements with what's going to happen there. We'll see who's right and what happens in Carolina with the new coach, of course. Well, quarterbacks are everything. It's what we talk about. It's what everybody talks about. Let's talk about one that Max Kellerman from First Take talks about Tom Brady going off a cliff as a quarterback. It's starting to look that way, that he can't work miracles with the current lineup.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of bad players on his team right now, and I think, he's sacrificing that in order to build that defense, which has definitely been the case. I think this part of him leaving, too, that he's not working, maybe as hard to force him to go get a player for him. I think this is definitely his last year in New England. So I just think, it's something he'll still figure out. You got to remember, like he said, you only got to win 2 games, really, when it comes down to it once you get in the playoffs. So 2 games and you're in the Super Bowl. And a 3rd game, you win the Super Bowl. So he's got to figure it out by then, but that's tons of time with this defense. That'll probably still get him 4 more wins.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, Buffalo's nipping right at his butt there.
Buffalo can't score,
the division.
Though. I mean, you're going to lose to a team that can score. So you're going to lose to Baltimore as of right now because you're not putting up any points. But a team like Buffalo, I think the reason why they'll win their last 4 games is Buffalo can't put up points either. So against a great defense, it's not like you're going up against a powerful offense. It's an okay offense against a great defense. He'll probably win the last 4, get a bye week, work some magic against whoever comes out of the wild card, but I think he's going to have a tough time against Baltimore, who will probably be the number 1 seed.
Well, Baltimore is going to destroy that whole division. I really thought the Patriots could get back. I think there's nothing that signals that right now. Baltimore is unstoppable unless Lamar gets hurt. That would be the only thing that would change that
or
game.
Playoffs and weather. I mean, he'll experience Baltimore in January, I guess, and December there. It's going to continue to get colder. It's going to get tougher on his body to take all the hits he takes. It's going to be tougher to throw the ball. Brady has one thing going for him is that if he can get a freezing cold day, he's undefeated when it's below 0. So something like that in the playoffs against a Belichick defense that gets a week, maybe 2 weeks to really prep for Lamar Jackson. We'll see, but that's really what it's going to come down to, and Brady knows it, so he knows he's got to perform twice in the next 8 weeks in order to make the Super Bowl, and that's his goal, I'm sure. So
yeah, for sure it is. We'll see what happens there. I think they're in real trouble this year. Just the last 2 games, it's just been awful. They've looked horrible. So we'll see what happens. But they're, of course, the masters between him and Belichick putting together plans for the playoffs and getting themselves there, as we all know, with 6 Super Bowls. So we'll see what happens there. Let's go to another one, which is another coach-quarterback issue. This is a big one. Cowboys. It's looking. The funny part is, at 6-6, they're leading their division, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately they're going to make the playoffs, which I think is unfortunate for Cowboys fans in a way, because I don't think there'll be a firing if they do make the playoffs. And at the same time, you're going to make the playoffs. Your division's your division. I've always hated the division format, even though one time it did benefit me in Seattle making it 7-9 one year. But even then,
that's right.
Your team isn't good enough to go all the way anyways. That's why I really feel they should get rid of the divisional play, because that division's probably going to lose in wild card, or if it does win it, it's going to lose eventually. Unfortunately, they get 2 games that some other team should be playing. But that's what's going to happen here, and the Cowboys might take advantage of it. Get in the playoffs. Garrett can save his job. Dak can get his money, and they're going to have to figure it out next year. I think it's something, though, that if they don't make it, is good news in a way, because I think everyone will be gone as far as coaching. I think he'll obviously keep Dak and Zeke Elliott. So. Well,
he's got to keep his players. That's the way it is. There's no doubt coaches are the ones that go. But I got to give Jerry Jones credit, man. He's only had 3 or 4 coaches in all the years, even since. Now Garrett one's been tough because they haven't got close to getting the Super Bowl, but he likes Garrett. It's going to be interesting to see what he does about that. That they have kept their coaches around, so it'll be interesting to see what he does at the end of the season. Of course, all of it matters on what they do in the next week. Win 4 games, and all of a sudden it's a great season. 10-6, they make the playoffs, and if they get past one round, like they knocked Seahawks out last year, they're probably keeping them. So everything will come down to the rest of the season. We'll see what happens. That division is so weak, though. They might just get lucky enough to get in with a 500 record, which is unfortunate, but it could happen. But they'll be gone in the first round of that if that occurs. So we'll see what happens there.
Certainly hope so, for sure.
More about quarterbacks. It's always about quarterbacks, but Pittsburgh now giving the news that they're going to stick with the young guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really surprising. They got no other options. They really don't have much depth there at the quarterback position. He wasn't even great this past week. I mean, it's all on the defense right now, but he's not hurting them, and I think he had a decent game throwing the ball. Put up enough points to win the game, which is at the end of the day is all you got to do as an NFL quarterback. But yeah, I mean, they don't have any other options. Mason Rudolph is really no good, and he's doing all right. I guess he's also a rookie, so might as well roll with him. He got a win last week. The teammates are on him. There's no drama surrounding him as there is with Mason Rudolph through pretty much the rest of the year now. So I like the decision, but really it's Mike Tomlin and the defense making it work for them. So it's not that newsworthy, except the fact, maybe he'll improve, maybe he'll get better. I did like some of the deep balls he threw yesterday, but no Juju Smith-Schuster, no Antonio Brown, no James Conner, no Le'Veon Bell, no Big Ben Roethlisberger, and they're still 7-5. Tells you that maybe Mike Tomlin's been underrated as a coach because he had all these big names because this is an impressive season.
And they were like 1-4.
Yeah, so they were 1-4, and
they've
come on like crazy. And they made a trade for corner safety Mika Fitzpatrick. Didn't think it was a big deal. He's really made that defense quite the juggernaut. So we'll see going forward, and that could be good in the playoffs. So they could upset somebody, definitely.
Yeah, without a doubt. The interesting story of the weekend was we talked about all the injuries, and what the big injury was this week was the flu.
Flu.
5 or 6 teams suffered badly for the flu. Seahawks were one of them. But the most interesting story was the Patriots. And what does Robert Kraft do? He flies 2 separate planes to their away game. Put the healthy guys on one plane and the sick guys on the other plane. I mean, you're talking about a first-class organization when you do that.
Well, when you bring him 6 championships, he can afford it. So, there you go. But yeah, the flu was coming around. Hopefully that's not lingering for most NFL teams. They got a full week to rest up.
Yeah, it's usually 24, 48 hours max.
Yeah, it definitely was kind of funny that it was definitely going around the NFL.
And congratulations to the Seahawks. They sucked it up and won a game, even though a big chunk.
Seahawks got so much depth right now, too. It's very impressive. But yeah, the guys did step it up. But Seahawks right now are winning because of the depth. They're not even using their top 3 receivers, winning games. Their defense is having turnovers like crazy. So yeah, very impressive game by them. Using all really assets of the game, which is what comes playoff time for sure. Helps win.
To be fair, actually, to the defense, they won the game on Monday night.
They did. I mean, they gave up a couple quick TDs, which I never like. And Seattle does it a lot, where they play too soft. I feel like, but they caused a bunch of turnovers. Really kept Seattle in game. Got the offense like 8 possessions in a row. It felt like at one point, and definitely 5 scoring drives because of the defense. So. Hey, they're doing what they got to do. If you're going to give up points, create points, and that's fine by me.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the last story here in the NFL again with a quarterback situation. We called it. We did our NFL camp start of the year. We called Cleveland to be 8-8 at best. Missed the playoffs. They're exactly on that road right now. Matter of fact, they got to win a couple to get to 8-8. But now they're talking about, is this a Freddie Kitchens problem or is this a Baker Mayfield problem? I think there's no doubt in my mind it's all about Mayfield.
I disagree. I think it's a horrible coach and a coach that didn't have any proof of anything, really. This is his first time coaching. I really don't like his personality. I feel like if you're going to have a big-name quarterback like that, you kind of need a coach that can handle it. Again, I think of someone like Harbaugh who would take immediate attention away from Baker Mayfield. Freddie Kitchens is quiet. We had no proof that he can coach at all. And really, this team needs someone that can handle egos a little bit, has a bit of a name of his own, has some experience in the NFL. You got too many experienced guys. This isn't a rookie team. You brought in Odell, who's been in the league. You brought in Jarvis Landry, who's been in the league. This is a problem that they need to fix. They need a big-time coach. I think it's more coaching than Baker Mayfield. I think he could use some help, but they will finish 8-8. They got one game against Baltimore, a game against the Bengals, a game against the Jets. They'll finish 8-8, look okay. But I think it's coaching more than anything, and obviously it will be the coach to go, not the quarterback in this situation too. So
well, it's always
you might as well look at it. You might as well look at a replacement for the coach, because you're not looking to look at a replacement for this quarterback. I mean, they got a team, but it's all coaching for me. There's too many veteran players mixed in this lineup. There's too much talent mixed in this lineup to have a guy named Freddie Kitchens who's never coached this team. I just don't like it. So I think it's a big time switch going there.
Well, it'll have for sure a Baker Mayfield that all uses him as an excuse. Mayfield will win the battle. There's no doubt about it. Oh, one thing I did want to talk about was the last story here, and it's about the last place teams. What the heck's going on? See, Cincinnati wins. Miami's 1, 2, 3 now.
Yeah, Miami.
You know what's going on here? All of a sudden, these teams are tanking. Now, you mentioned I didn't read this anywhere. You mentioned the league had some conversations with Miami.
There's reported that the tanking got a little ridiculous, so there had been some pressure put on. I don't think they meant for them to win 3 games. I think it was more like don't lose 58-3. Also the team's just playing. I think the draft class coming up this year in the NFL has kind of been more open than what people anticipated. They thought there was one quarterback, one guy running one, and Tua Tagovailoa. He's now injured too, so he's not less valuable now. So I think teams are going, all right, we might as well really put on a brave face and go play some football and maybe get a game for the fans or whatever. I just think there's nothing official that the NFL told them to go win, but I just feel like, and Adam Trevor said, there's probably been some phone calls, just don't get blown out like that. Miami's decided to go on and win. I think they got so many picks, they're not even looking for the top pick right now. I don't think they need it either, and I think all the teams are looking the same way. I tell you one thing, the team that might get the pick is the Giants. They're playing Eli Manning for the rest of the year. They just reported that to save Daniel Jones from getting hit so much.
Make him attack. Eli attacking them.
Yeah, so, the Giants might get the first pick too, but they don't want a quarterback either. So, I tell you what, it's really going to come down to the Bengals, the only team that truly needs that quarterback. Joe Burrow's from LSU right now. So, see them finish last. Giants and everyone else finish in the middle of the pack, and they're going to win a couple games here or there and, get a good pick. But the tanking definitely went away, and I think the NFL must have had something to do with it. I don't think the teams would go out and win. I don't think that was their plan, but I'm proud of Miami for not losing 58-3 every week. So, it's made a good NFL. They've surprised some teams. It's been great for picking and entertainment-wise. So, it worked out well.
Well, and, it's good to see that they can win a little bit for their fans. In my mind, even though I'm going to get one of the low picks, it's nice to see the team's not horrible.
I think the players themselves, they're a young team. They know the team just picked up 8 picks. So if you're on the Miami Dolphins right now, you're not looking for a trade. You're probably a young player, just got in the league, and now they're going to get all these picks. This could be a juggernaut in the future, right when the Brady era is kind of ending. So I think it's pretty smart on their part.
And the last one actually is about Miami as well. Ryan Tannehill. What the hell? I mean, this guy, he could be the MVP with what he's done in the last, 6-7 games?
His numbers aren't MVP numbers. I'll tell you one thing. It's not like he's been putting up 400, 300 yards. In fact, he's only averaging 225, 250. But the fact is he's not turning the ball over. And really, if you look at a team like Tennessee, I've said this all along, it's a playoff team, but their quarterback kept on making mistakes. I thought when he was healthy, he was still good enough to get him there. But this is a defense-built team with a big running back. Tannehill's throwing a couple touchdowns, throwing for 220, 250, and not turning the ball over. That's all he needs to do. I wouldn't bring up MVP or even go crazy about it, but he's enough. We knew he was enough. We called it from the beginning. He had a great record in Miami. I think he's a great quarterback, but he fits a great system, and he's definitely very much above average in the NFL. Not great, but very, very good. And on a team like Tennessee, that's all they needed to get them to this point, and here they are. So
well, and he is a winning machine.
He wins a lot.
I'll bet if you put his winning percentage up in the last number of years of games he's actually played, he's probably right at the top of the list of the guy's winning percentage when he's been able to play. He's been hurt a lot. He's been playing with Monday. He was running Miami. You got to give this guy a lot of credit. And I'll tell you one other thing. We watch him every week. We love him every week. Terry Bradshaw said, I don't mind having 4 Super Bowl rings and being told that I had the greatest defense in NFL. He said, I did what I had to do as a quarterback. My defense won for me. I can guarantee you that any quarterback would be happy to slip that ring on, even if he's not the focal point of that team. And Tannehill looks like he could do that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm thinking of rings. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl team yet, but they're definitely building towards it. So it's going to be a fun time in Nashville. You got a big hockey team, big football team now. They're definitely a team I think can get by the wild card, with some of these divisions out there. Actually, they might even win their division. So I think they could easily beat a wild card team too. So they might get second round of playoffs. They're definitely that team right now. They got a big game though against Houston, I believe. I believe they played Houston twice out of 4 weeks to finish the season. So that tells you your whole season right there. They got to go win those games, and either they will or they won't. And at least they know they got their cards in their own hands as well.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Well, there you go. That's the NFL show. Lots of action this week. There's some great games. As a matter of fact, the whole schedule was great games this weekend, capped off by that Monday night game. So there you go. NFL for another week. We'll look forward to chatting with you again on Monday night.